decades. We must rapidly curb our use of fossil fuels, and we must stop supporting the industries whose profits depend on them. But meanwhile, what has the University of Michigan been doing? Well, here are just a few highlights. Number one, the university administration is spending $80 million to expand our central campus power plant. Is that eyesore over there with the two smokestacks? When construction is finished, we will be burning even more natural gas on campus than we do today. And that infrastructural baggage could lock us into decades of continued fossil fuel use. Number two, the university administration has refused to set an ambitious deadline for carbon neutrality, despite being well aware of the scientific reports from the IPCC, which show that we have less than 11 years to reduce global emissions by half. Number three, the university administration has refused to discuss divesting our $12 billion endowment, of which it is estimated that about $1 billion is invested in the fossil fuel industry. In fact, they are actively increasing those investments. Just in the last fiscal year, the Board of Regents of the University of Michigan sent at least $240 million worth of checks as private equity to the fossil fuel industry. That's right. The University of Michigan is directly bankrolling the destruction of your future. I want you to think about that next time you go to vote for regents at the ballot box. Oh, and by the way, just a few days ago, the entire University of California system committed to completely divest their endowment from fossil fuel funds. You can guess who's ahead of UM on the best public university rankings list. For the last and perhaps most revolting point, on March 15th, during the last climate strike, the university administration arrested 10 students and community members during a sit-in at President Schlissel's office. After we peacefully demonstrated for 7 hours, simply asking for a commitment to an open public meeting to discuss climate change policy, the university administration refused and instead started arresting people. Those individuals are still in and out of courtrooms today, dealing with the legal ramifications of standing up for our future, and the university refuses to drop their charges. Sadly, this is not unique. This is what people in the climate resistance experience every day. All over the world, people are risking their futures because, well, if we don't, we won't really have a future. It's an existential catch-22 that we all must face. But meanwhile, our institutions are dragging their feet and continuing to make excuses. They are continuing to prioritize profits and short-term financial gain ahead of all of our futures. I say to those institutions, to the individuals that represent them, to the University of Michigan and its president, don't become the next C.C. Little. Get on the right side of history or get out of the way. Stop arresting your students and start taking the climate crisis seriously, like the goddamn existential crisis that it is. Because we will not go away. You can arrest us, but we will continue to resist. We will continue to strike, to sit in, and to raise our voices. We will continue to mobilize, because it is only when the multitudes with little power come together that we can overcome the few with the most power. Drop the charges. Thank you.